Welcome to Sojourners Awake. This is Jonathan, and today I have a bonus episode discussing statistics of Sojourners Awake. I know, it's a wonderful story, but it is part of our adventure. So I started this podcast about 6 months ago and have been really pleased at the feedback I've received. One of the most fun things about this podcast is watching the little numbers go up of all the listeners and episodes that are downloaded. And if you didn't know, I use Anchor by Spotify to upload all of my video recordings. I record all the audio here with Movavi Video Editor, and then delete out the video and then edit everything afterwards just using the audio. And then I use Tabletop Audio, a wonderful background and ambiance website, to overlay all the audio and kind of give it more of an ambient story-like feel. I think it really does a good job helping the listener engage in a more immersive way. But what I wanted to talk about today is just say hello to everybody. Again, my name is Jonathan, and our podcast is a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons adventure. I homebrew pretty much everything, but I do resource a lot of the official content. You'll probably hear some names that are familiar in the storyline. And but everything the players make up, of course, is all out of their own imaginations, and hopefully that's where most of the content comes from. At least the good content, right? But the most exciting thing is the geographic location. I guess this is based off of a unique IP address, and that's how they figure out where in the world you are listening from, which gets me really excited. As a kid, I always loved geography and memorizing the 50 states and exploring the whole country. And I feel like I get to do this a little bit. So I know I'm not in your life, on any kind of friendship level, but I want to say I see you there. So with no further ado, I'd like to give a shout out to, first of all, Texas. Hello, Texas. Coming in at number 1, 42% of the downloads. Now, I gotta wonder if some of those downloads are from my own iPhone, because yes, I do review every episode as a listener as well, just to get that feel and understand what it looks like at the end of the product. So, thank you, Houston, Texas, for an overwhelming amount of downloads. 1/3 of those may be my friends, and no doubt my players as well, assuming they listen. But hello, Katie. Hello, Houston. Hello, Cyprus. Hello, Dallas. And even hello, Corpus Christi. How about that? So Texas coming in at number 1. Number 2. This is surprising. From coast to coast. Seattle, Washington. Hello, Seattle. I hear it rains there a lot. I'm not really sure, but it'd be good to meet you one day. Not that I'm come knocking at your door, but if I see you in the streets, I'll say hi. It rained here a lot today, so I did think about you as I saw the download. Let's move on to number 3, Maryland. Hello, Maryland. We got Bowie, Bel Air, Hallenthorpe, and Gaithersburg. Pretty cool to see. We got a nice broad audience there, so if I'm ever in Maryland, I'll stop by and say hi. Nice to meet you. So moving on, we get to a lesser of the downloads, but I still want to take the time to mention them just because they're there, So we got a couple of downloads from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. What a historic site. So, hey Gettysburg, hope you're doing well today. Lafayette, Indiana. Hey Lafayette, I've never been to Indiana, but hope you're doing well there, and thanks for listening. California. Hey, California. It's a big state. We got Los Angeles, La Crescenta, and San Diego. Thanks for all the downloads. Thanks for the West Coast love. And speaking of coasts, let's go to the East Coast. New York. Hey, New York City and Brooklyn. Very glad to know that you're listening out there, and just wanted to say hi. Let's see. Coming in, what else we got? Hey, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. How about that? Hope you're doing well. La Place, Louisiana. I hear it's a great place. Or maybe it's La Place, I'm not sure. But hey, Louisiana, I see your listen there, and just wanted you to know I'm grateful that you took the time to listen to our wonderful story. Hey, Las Vegas, Nevada, that's pretty cool. I've been there. I had a friend elope, and we participated in her wedding a while back, a long time ago. And so yeah, I've been there before. I'm glad you're taking the time to listen. Hope the podcast is enjoyable. Okay, this one surprised me. North Carolina. Oh, we got 4. Charlotte, Raleigh, Waxhaw, Franklin. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm glad to see we got a little bit of percentage of listens. Again, I'm not really sure how often people listen, if they just kind of just check in for the first 3 minutes and then check out, or if they listen to the whole thing and follow along. But man, I am so happy to see some folks from North Carolina, because that is where I was born. Yes, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Lived there the first year of my life, and that was it. All right, we got Colorado. Hey, Colorado. Broomfield and Inglewood. It's good to see you. And I just see there's so many states here. And again, I don't know if everyone listens all the time, or if it was just, one single person on social media saw the post and decided to take a listen. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. But I did want to take the time to say thank you for stopping by. How about you? Groveland and Hollywood, Florida. Again, thank you for stopping by and listening. Going back to the West Coast. Hey, Portland, Oregon. Hope everything's going well. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Hope the podcast is enjoyable. Hope you resonate with the story. Hey, Greenville, Rock Hill, South Carolina. Well, again, all the states here. This is really cool. And Moss Point, Mississippi. Hey, Moss Point. I hope the story is enjoyable, and I hope you get to follow along. District of Columbia, Washington, and last but not least, you'll never guess it, Anchorage, Alaska. That's right. Less than 0.1% from Anchorage, Alaska. So, hey, Anchorage. I'm not sure what you enjoyed about the podcast, or if you enjoyed it at all, but love to hear from you sometime. So that's pretty much it. I do want to give an honorable mention to my friend in South Africa. Not enough data, but I know you listened. So I saw that you clicked on the link. You listened for a little bit, at least for 45 seconds. So I'd love to hear from you sometime. What did you like about the story? Maybe what didn't you like? And I think Sojourners Awake is a little bit different of an actual play D&D podcast. I've listened to quite a few, and most of the time I do hear that they hit record and they're all at a table and they're just talking and having a game, and then they pretty much don't cut anything out. You probably noticed I do edit the podcast a little bit. I try to edit a little bit of the blank space. Anytime I'm referencing a rule or a book, I edit all that out. If there's an extra long dice roll, I pretty much edit that out and just kind of sandwich in between me saying, yeah, make a wisdom saving throw, and then the person telling me what they got for that wisdom saving throw, just because I don't think there's that much dynamic that is gained from waiting for the dice roll to be identified. So yeah, I do a little bit editing, but I think the most thing I edit is the soundtrack in the background. Again, Tabletop Audio is a great website. Sometimes I'll just go there, click on a download, and just listen to it in the background while I'm studying or while the kids are doing school. It really gives it the day that epic feel. So I've enjoyed that. But other than that, that's pretty much all I edit. And I try to keep the D&D podcast kind of like a audio drama, as if you were listening to a book. And obviously there's a little bit of chit chat and a little bit of immersion breaking, but that's okay. It's really just about us getting together and having fun as well. So that's the only reason I can think maybe someone wouldn't enjoy the podcast. I know early on the audio was a little lacking, and I learned a lot about how to clean up the audio and make better sounds, and not ramble on like I'm doing now. Nevertheless, I started this podcast because I believe we are story formed as humans. We tell stories all the time, whether you consider yourself a storyteller or not, but it's really the story of your life, who you are, why you're here, and where you're going. And then we mesh and weave those stories in with each other and form bonds and relationships, communities, societies, countries. History is a course of study in of itself, because it is the preserved stories that have been formed over time. They may not be the actual story, it may not be everyone's story, but it is the story that gets preserved. I heard it said one time, history books are written by those who won the war. And I think what I try to do with Sojourners Awake is take my imagination, present a challenge, a setting, and then take my players' imagination and their response to the world around them, and really try to tell human stories with that. I know there's a lot of fantasy element. There's elves and dragons and devils and demons, and the fantasy is meant to be a little bit of a step back, so it allows us to tell a truly human story that we can all resonate with. So hopefully you find yourself in this story. If not, just simply be entertained. And again, thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to listen through. I try to keep the podcast to about 45 minutes, just because I understand that's a decent commute and it doesn't really need to cut into your day. But if you ever want to contact me, you can find me at sojournersawake.com. It's my blog. You could blog me there, email me at sojournersawake@gmail.com. Well, I guess that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this little bonus segment of Jonathan saying hi to you and hoping you have a good day. And so for now, our story concludes.